Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Banditland Boulevard, another victory postgame episode of Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Hauer here, across from me via the amazing StreamYard platform. We got Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead98TL. The Bandits go into Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and they go on the bear hunt of their freaking lives, destroying them, declawing them, skinning them, whatever you want to say. We got fresh meat in the freezer. And I think Dane Smith posted the picture on Instagram of Nick Guise's black bear hunt. That is a microcosm of how Friday night's game went. The Bandits went into Ottawa, smoked them 18-7. Tony, your thoughts on the massive victory for the Buffalo Bandits going 2-0 on the season and outscoring their opponents in the first two games by a score of 33-14.
Yeah, everything was clicking. Offense doing their thing, scoring double-digit points again. Defense holding down the fort, keeping them under 10 goals. Matt Vince being Matt Vince. The transition did their part. Everything clicked. There was nothing you can script that says it was wrong. And yet the fact that it was just things started to turn from what we saw in the first game against Rochester to a more dangerous team that we saw against Ottawa. And it's so ridiculous how good the Buffalo Bandits have become in all circumstances of each part of the game. And you know what? That is scary to all teams to watch out for. And right now we are standing at the top of the mountain again at 2-0 to come into the home opener coming up soon. And we are one of the four who still stand tall at 2-0.
And it's phenomenal. I mean, I knew it was going to be tough for the Bandits this year. I mean, you saw how tough it was last year. After, winning our first title in 15 years, they were going through ups and downs. They got off to another 0-1 start. But this year, it looks like they honestly took last year, the way that they kind of underperformed in the first half of the season. They took that personally, Tony. I mean, 15-7, followed by 18-7 on the road. Both of those games on the road. This team looks like they are out for blood. There is blood in the water for this team. They look dangerous as hell. This is a crazy start. This is probably the best start to a Bandit season I've seen throughout my entire fandom. I've been a fan of this team since 2006. This might be the most dominant start to a season I've ever seen as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for from this team? Averaging over 16 points a game and keeping your opponents at 7 per game. That itself speaks for itself. That we can't say they can't lose a game, or they can always win. But the fact of how they go into each game focused on that specific team each week. It was Rochester first week. Now we did with Ottawa, and now we go back to playing Rochester the next week. The next after Christmas break, that is. But the fact is how well Johnny T has gelled into championship format for this group right here. Yeah, there was a name here and there missing, or said our goodbyes for another team. So what? The attitude didn't change. The game style didn't change. It's put your foot on the gas pedal and don't look back. That's exactly what Johnny T has done to this team, and he has gelled into a freaking wall for Matt Vince to be like, well, I'm not afraid to play for another 6-7 years. Who knows? After the way this defense has been going, good Lord, this defense itself is so freaking good. And that's what we wanted for a lot of years, is having solid defensive core to, be like, look, you don't have to beat us to beat us. And that's the only way you're going to. And it's the fact that Dawson being huge, Spanger coming back after injury, Justin Martin being himself, Priolo doing his thing, and just working as one. And it's so good against these two teams so far. And just bringing that mentality, like, look, we're doing our part. Offense, you do your thing. And God, that itself is scary just to even think about.
Oh my God. Like you mentioned, Dawson, like we had some key departures, but we brought some key guys in the middle of the season last year. Connor Farrell, Paul Dawson, some of those guys, and they have stuck around and they look like they've been on the team for years. I mean, you look at this defense now, Thomas Whitty looks like a freaking animal. Paul Dawson's a machine. Steve Priolo, as the captain, is still a menace out there on the floor. And you also mentioned another one of my favorites, Matt Vince, who looking like if he plays this way the rest of the season, sure, he's going to have, his bad games and his good games because it's an 18-game season. It's a long season. But you mentioned 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure if that was a joke or you being serious. I'm going to say that's you being serious. I mean,
well,
this guy is a complete freak of a human being. He still
yes, he
has
is.
it. He's 42, but he's still playing like he's 22. And
That's right.
I don't see any sign. Last year was a slight indicator that he might be slowing down. He's sipping out of the fountain of 2023, 2022 right now, Tony. And it's amazing to see holding another team to under 10 goals and just him being the physical beast and the guy that covers the low shots better than any other goalie I've seen in the National Lacrosse League. Matt Vince, you continue to prove our point on this show. You are the GOAT. The GOAT. A game like this proves it as well. And they did a great job limiting the stars that I said in the pregame that you need to limit.
Yes, you
Holding
did.
Jeff Teat to a hat trick, I'll take that. 3 goals from Jeff Teat. And you're looking at Zach Higgins got the start, but I really didn't see a lot on the score sheet from guys like Larson Sundown. He got a goal, but they did a great job of eliminating him as well. Looking at maybe a Ron John, they held him to 1 goal as well. The key players that I said on the pregame to limit the Buffalo Bandits, credit to the defense especially, and transition. Believe me, we will get into a transition player that had a historic career night for the Bandits. In the trenches, they dominated and they limited the stars of the Ottawa Black Bears. And that is just one of the main reasons why they absolutely beat these guys down 18-7. In the trenches, you limit their stars. I guarantee you, with the greatest goalie that's ever played in the National Lacrosse League, you're going to win those games. And you absolutely won. All credit in the world to the defense, goaltending, and transition. You guys looked great. Now, you mentioned, the guys that left and the guys that came back. We had some guys that left on the offense as well. And I bet you some of our listeners right now that have made it through 7 minutes of 23 seconds of us rambling about the defense, they're probably like, hey, guys, the Bandits scored 18 freaking goals. Why don't you talk about the offense? We will talk about the offense. Starting off with number 4, this guy can play defense and offense. A 100% shooting percentage. I'm going to say that again. Friday night, a 100% shooting percentage. 5 shots on goal for Ian McKay, and all 5 of them went in the net. A career night. I believe that's the most he scored in a game in his career. 5 goals for Quattro himself, dude. Ian McKay had a hell of a night.
Well, like I said, even the National Lacrosse League say he is one of the best transition players to look out for this year, and he scored 5 goals. How do you ask a guy from previous years who has helped out through injuries, both playing offense, doing his thing in transition, and has to play defense here and there? He's an all-around, probably one of the top prospect players that we've ever picked up. And number 4 has proven to be number 1 in the scoring list, especially how good he was just finding his rhythm against the Ottawa Black Bears. And the way how he was scoring, he was making Higgins guess. No matter which angle, no matter what side, he was just, look, you're going to have to either stay still and wait for the ball to come to me, or you're going to have to come out and attack me and take away my view or my lane. But other than that, McKay just looked solid. Like he was just bound for a game like this. And this is an unbelievable performance from a guy who still proves to the people, if you want to be the best transition player or all-around player, you got to beat Ian McKay. McKay has proven it time and time again that the reason why they kept him is because he is also a great leader in the locker room too. You cannot count out number 4.
Definitely. And then throw on top of that, I mean, just 100% shooting percentage. Everything that he shot went in the net. I mean, that is absolutely nuts. So all credit. I mean, he's spoiler alert city here, but he's my player of the game. 1,000% from the 18-7 victory. The secondary scoring, Tony, and not even the secondary scoring. The special teams. The special teams. Remember, we said that they're going to figure it out on the power play. They have figured it out on the damn power play. 3 for 4, winning 18 of 29 faceoffs. The special teams was on fire. Connor Farrell had a great night in the faceoff dot going up against Jay Thornbert. 18 of 29. That is very, very, very impressive for a guy like Connor Farrell. Bandits took a decent amount of penalties, 20 minutes in penalties. It didn't seem to really affect them in the long run as they their penalty kill. I give them credit too. They only held Ottawa, Jeff Teat and company on that dangerous power play to 2 for 5. So the special teams had a great night against the Ottawa Black Bears as well. But we mentioned him too. Player to watch. He scored a power play goal. Chase Fraser, welcome back to the score sheet, 95. Chase Fraser is back on the score sheet. He contributed. I believe he scored 2 goals and
should have had 4.
Should have had 4. My God.
Should have had 4. 2 goals were taken away. But again,
That's right.
He would have had a legit double-digit night too if they would have given him those 2 goals. But apparently they didn't.
You're right. And Chris Kluche, Nick Weiss scoring a goal.
Lefty. Yep.
Dane Smith looking great. Kyle Buchanan, back-to-back games with multiple goals. He scored 2, I believe. Teho Bananacoke scored. Dane Smith on the power play. Josh Byrne on the 5-on-5. Chris Kluche scoring on the 5-on-5. Chase Fraser also scored on the 5-on-5 too. So secondary scoring was electric. Nick Weiss getting a goal and an assist is huge, especially as an assistant captain. It was clicking on all 3 sides of the ball. Offense, defense, transition. It was also clicking on goaltending as well. So you can say 4 sides, and the special teams was undeniable as well. So you also mentioned Chase Fraser should have had a couple goals. I mean, what's the difference between 20-7 and 18-7? They were kicking their ass regardless in that game.
Yeah,
it was a total ass whooping, and that's what I have been wanting to see from the Bandits last year was be undeniable. Us on this show, we complain about, a couple calls here and there, and we talk about cheap officiating when the game gets tight. Well, when you're undeniable, those cheap calls don't really matter. And that's exactly what the Bandits were. The Bandits were undeniable, and this is probably the most complete game I've seen the Bandits play since their first title in 15 years in 2023. I honestly, this is probably the biggest blowout I've seen since 2022 when they played the Philadelphia Wings at home and won like 17-5 or whatever. I think
it was also the Rochester Nighthawks when we beat them 20-8.
Oh, 20-8. Yeah, that's probably the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Sure.
The biggest, I mean, I don't even know what to describe it. Biggest butt whooping I've seen from the Bandits to another team probably since the quarterfinal matchup against the Nighthawks that year.
Yeah, and also 2 names we got to mention too, especially with long time coming Kyle Buchanan playing in front of his family too in Ottawa, close to home, and it's nice to see that his friends and family showed up for the game and to support number 91 of the Buffalo Bandits, especially how it took him a while to score his first goal in that game, but again, he's more like a playmaker / go-getter for the loose balls and to keep the plays going for the offense. But to also play in front of your family to be like, hey, this is the reason why I want to do this one more time, or it could be a year, it could be another year. Who knows what his heart desires? But I'm just glad they re-signed him and gave him another chance to come back for another year. And again, to keep this team gelled as one, because I think he's one of the offensive workhorses that the Bandits are going to miss once it's his time to say goodbye. But after the first 2 games, how well he has clicked with this offense, it's just, how can you not keep him for another 2 or 3? Or how can you not keep him for another 4 or 5? It's right. He just brings that energy to the team, and it's just unrealistic. But also another name to watch out for is how about our rookie, Clay Scanlon?
Yeah, Clay Scanlon,
good Lord,
dude.
All over the place, taking some opportunities and getting free apples in his first game call-up. What more can you ask for from a rookie who puts himself out there, who actually knows the sport? Emerson Clark, I hope you heard that.
And what does
this
that
man
say?
knows how to play. Do you? No, I'm glad you're sitting out.
And what does that say about the level of talent evaluation from Steve Dietrich? He goes out and I've never heard of this Scanlon prospect before. And I see that he's activated for the game. I'm like, I want to see what this kid's got.
He's got it.
He played fearless. He had a couple shots too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That almost, they had a chance of squeaking in, because a lot of those goals, believe me, they were squeaking in. And he got let's see. I got the exact run. He got 1 shot on goal. That one was the low
shoulder
shot
on Higgins, and he hit Pike.
Yeah, that was what it was. He had the high shoulder shot and tried to thread the needle there. It was a good save by Higgins, but I you can when you plug and play these young rookies, number one, they're energized to be playing for the Buffalo Bandits, one of the
Yeah,
more historic franchises in this league, and they want to play with a chip on their shoulder. Ottawa Black Bears have no film on this kid, so that is dangerous. He looked like a seasoned pro. He looked like a guy who you saw, you know, po, in and out of the games last year. No, this is a rookie that was playing. Now, I don't know how many games he's going to play because we saw some flashiness last year out of Christian Watts, and then he was sent back down to the taxi squad. And we're gonna see what they want to do with Sam LaRue, if they want to make him a full-time guy or if they want to switch him out, plug and play. It doesn't matter. We know Sam LaRue can play, and we know that Clay Scanlon can also play. So this is a decent problem that the Bandits have on their hands. And man, he had a hell of a night, getting 3 points in his first game and just going down the list, man. Nanakoke, 4 points, a goal and 3 assists. Chris Kluche, a hat trick for 3 points. Ian McKay, 5 goals and 5 points. Nick Weiss, a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. He also had 12 penalty minutes. The one of them was the one of them
players.
was
That's
the,
what happens.
yeah, one of them was the 10-minute misconduct in the third quarter there with with Nick Weiss.
All 12 minutes in one play, right at the
Josh
end of the third
Byrne.
quarter.
Yeah, it was called on the same penalty. He must have said something the referee didn't like. We really didn't get a good explanation on the broadcast why he got the 10-minute misconduct. I
I didn't
assume
know either myself.
it
I
was
was
it
like,
was
why is he
something
like
he
not out there?
it was probably something he said the referee didn't like. So I mean, whatever.
Possibly.
We were already whooping their ass in the third quarter anyway, so it really didn't matter. Josh Byrne, 2 goals, 8 assists. How about a double-digit night for Josh Byrne? That was big for him. Clay Scanlon,
Yep.
3 assists. Connor Farrell, 18 faceoff wins out of 29 faceoffs. We love seeing that. Kyle Buchanan, 2
Over
goals,
50%
assists.
again.
You're damn right. And Kyle Buchanan, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points on the night. He looks like he's sipping out of the fountain of youth out of, looking at the last 2 games. Dane Smith, 2 goals, 7 assists, tally him up 9 points, totaling 20 points in 2 games played. Dane Smith is on historic pace as far as points are concerned. And Chase Fraser, back where he belongs, 2 goals, 5 assists, count him up 7 points for number 95. And it was also cool to see Steve Erleman get some reps. It was only 5 minutes, but he was 3 for 3 in saves, and he got some reps there. So it's always good to see the backup tendy get some love. And Matt Vince, 7 goals allowed, 34 saves in 55 minutes of play.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think as soon as Ottawa changed their goalie to Dunkerley, Tavares says, you know what, we'll send our backup out there and see what they can
Why
do.
not?
And
Get him some reps in
Steve
him.
Orleman was like lights out when he was in there. But I kind of felt like he faced more than just 3 shots. I mean, the statistics in the game, I don't know if they were really paying attention on TSN or whoever they were broadcasting or whoever took the stats that night, but I felt like Orleman saw more than, like, say, close to 10 shots
Yeah.
possible.
It's the same thing
But other than
with
that, he was lights out too. He made some good saves too. He made it actually a highlight save of the game, like kind of like Zach Higgins did in the first quarter against Dane Smith. And that's another thing we got to also watch out for is if God forbid, if Matt Vince does get, like, not saying he will, but if he gets hurt, Steve Orleman's right there. Like, he could take over as a good backup for him until he gets back to being healthy. But right now, we've got a great, healthy number 48 in between the pipes, and I am not afraid of how this team is looking. It's looking awesome.
hell yeah. You also mentioned the guys in the stats. Just like what I was thinking about Clay Scanlon. I thought he had way more than 1 shot. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. That
I
could
think
just
if
be
you
a
give this
little.
kid an opportunity to start shooting more, I think he'll have more goals like Nathaniel Koznikov in no
Yeah.
time, because he'll get like maybe 15 goals. I'm gonna guess if he keeps playing at least 15 for the season for this kid. I got a good feeling that he's gonna do real good things for this team.
And I think he is a guy that they should keep up on the active roster.
I would.
Because he is such a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get from this kid. And when I saw he was activated, I'm like, this is exciting. I mean,
Mhm.
this is a guy that can switch hands. He's one of the young and up and coming prospects. So when they teach you to play lacrosse, especially for the younger kids now, they teach you how to shoot lefty. They teach you how to shoot righty. And that's only going to, grow the game even more for indoor lacrosse.
Right.
Ambidextrous forwards that can switch hands on command, like the way that Jeff Teat could, the way that dude goes from left to right. He's an absolute beast. And we know that Josh Byrne and Dane Smith can do it all the time. Same with Ian McKay. The ones that play the outdoor game as well, you have to for outdoor lacrosse. You have to know how to pass, shoot, lefty and righty. Bringing that into the National Lacrosse League makes it a whole lot more entertaining. And Clay Scanlon is one of those guys that can switch, and he has the possibility of being dangerous. I don't want him to be like a Christian Watt story where he has a great couple of games and then he gets sent back down to the taxi squad. Another team picks him up. I say that you leave this kid up on the active roster, let him grow, let him develop, and he can join the laundry list of Bandit players that are secondary and primary scorers.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you got to give these kids chances to play and prove themselves to this team, and especially with Johnny T's tutelage, I don't see these guys going anywhere anytime soon. But again, if we see them starting to dissipate and starting to, stay in the background in the practice squad for more games than one, I mean, it's kind of like giving them a chance. Let's see what they can do. If they don't do what you have to do, then okay, then you sit them down for another game. But then, God forbid, if team get hurt, somebody gets hurt, they're the next call up in line. So Scanlon is showing that he wants to be a full timer, and that's tough because there's so many others that want to be full timers. I mean, we haven't even seen Lucas Nielsen even get a chance of playing out there, or even Samler get like his full time status that he's supposed to.
Taylor Dooley, Ryan Sharkey, players like
Yeah,
that.
stuff those guys' names especially, and it's like, well, until we see these guys, they say, well, we're hurt or whatever, then these guys get called up, then we got to see what they can do. They got to fill the void. They got to make sure they can do what the Bandits are doing right now, and that is causing damage and ruckus inside the National Lacrosse League.
And now I know it's only 2 games into the season, but
And it's early. Yeah.
My God. I mean, I've never seen a start like this. I mean, 2022 was similar. And I think the first couple weeks of that season, even, we had some close games.
Mm-hmm.
We started off, there was a big win against Calgary in that first game. I think we won that game by 7-ish. Then we had some close games after that, especially against Rochester and Toronto. But 33-14 is unheard of. I don't know what is going on in that locker room, but this might be one of the most dangerous Buffalo Bandit teams that we have ever seen, and it couldn't have come at a better time when they already have 2, back-to-back titles on their belt right now, going for a three-peat. Tony, when you look at the schedule, we know that there's going to be a loss coming. I mean, I don't see 1993 repeating itself, but is it too early to say I might want to switch my season prediction because I believe I went with 12-6 on the year? I mean, things can change. Players can get hurt. Stuff can happen. More teams will get more film on the Bandits. But, Tony, what in the world is going on with this team? They look pissed off. They look like they have the three-peat on the radar. What do you think Johnny T is saying to these guys in the locker room? Or is it just them having fun playing the game that they dominated for years?
I'm going to take your last saying, and that's what they're doing right now, is they're having fun. When you have fun in a sport that you love, games are easily won. And that's what they're showing in these first 2. They've allowed only 7 per, and their average is like 16 plus per game. That wins you games. That has fun with it. You smile more, you enjoy the sport more, you just keep on winning like that, or you just win games, period, is going to make you have a smile on your face for the next couple days or whatever until you play the next opponent. Can I say it's too early to say 12-6 like you said? Maybe, but again, we're not expecting a perfect season, and I don't expect it from these guys at all, because they go out there and they play with their heart every single game, no matter who they're facing. And if it's a win, great. If it's a loss, okay, you learn from your mistakes and you get back up on your feet and you keep moving forward. But I would have to say, in your last saying, yeah, the Bandits are having fun, and that's all that matters. And right now, the fans, Banditland itself, is having fun, especially when teams go on the road. It's probably the most difficult times to win games. The Bandits themselves made it look like it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
That's how they did. That's how they did.
And also, I mean, just shout out to the fans too. When you watch that game back on ESPN or NLL Plus, whatever you're watching it on, dude, this fan base travels everywhere. And I said it last week. This team could have they could play a game in freaking Antarctica. It would be filled with orange and black jerseys. They could play a game in Australia, on the west coast of Australia, and the Bandits Mafia will still show up. They could play a game in the freaking Vatican City. The Mafia will still show up. They make it hard for the home team to focus and concentrate. You look around the arena, you see orange and black everywhere. These players, number one, thrive off of the energy, and they also, man, they know what it means to us. Fans like us. We do a Bandits podcast, but we're fans at the end of the day, and we do this show because we are diehard fans of the team. When they do that, when they score, when they dominate and beat these teams, and they win back-to-back titles, and they're going for a three-peat, they know that they're appeasing the fan base and picking up another, a fan base of a team that shares the same building as the Bandits when times are going very rough for those guys too. So they're picking that fan base up. They're picking us up. They know that they're good and they're putting on a show for their fans. So huge shout out to Bandits Mafia and huge shout out to the guys on the field and shout out to the upper management. I know we touched on this last week. They go with the mindset, don't F with winning. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. When you don't need to make any unnecessary upgrades to your team, don't make them. You know this is working. Make other teams find a way to beat you. And once they beat you, that's when you can make your changes. What the Bandits don't do. Last year, I mean, we mentioned this before too with Steve Dietrich. He made a couple head-scratching moves, especially with trades, signing Emerson Clark and trading away Brad McCulley. But we used those 2 number 2 picks to trade for Paul Dawson. He doesn't F with winning. If it ain't broke, he doesn't fix it. And the Bandits are a franchise in professional sports that other teams in other leagues, NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA, they should look at them as an inspiration. This is a team that just won back-to-back titles. They brought back the same core. They didn't have that unnecessary need to, we need to upgrade this guy because we need to dominate even more. They didn't F with winning. They stuck with what worked, and it wasn't broke, so they didn't fix it. They ran it back, and look at where we are now. 2-0 in the new season, looking for a three-peat because they don't mess with winning. So shout out to the front office as well for a start like this.
Yeah, I mean, when you play a sport with a group of
I think we lost you there, Tony. Yeah, Tony, I think we lost you, bro. Well, anyways, when you play with a group like this, and when you play with a core like this, Tony's over there frozen. I know he was going to say something important, but he's over there frozen. So we're gonna try to figure out what's going on with him, and hopefully, we can bring him back into the pod and see what he's doing. But we'll take him out of that right now. Anyways, I think I know where Tony was going to get at. When you have a group of guys that has a camaraderie like they do, when they have the awareness, when they have the drive that they do, you guys create a bond. And the bond that these guys have created is a championship caliber bond. It looks like we got Tony back. Sorry, Tony. I think we lost
there we
you
go.
there.
Jesus, sorry guys.
Hey, technical difficulties. We're doing this on the fly, and I think I was kind of filling in what you were getting at. But you said when you have a core group of players.
No, say that again.
Yeah, you were saying when you have a core group of players like this.
Oh yeah, thank you. Basically, like I said, was trying to say before I got cut off. When you have a group of guys that you want to bring into a league and you want to see what you can do, first couple of years might not be the best. You might not learn, how to beat other teams, and you got like a winless season. So what? The more you stay together and you form a commitment and a team bondage, like the Bandits are doing right now with this group, and I'm saying this specific group because for some reason it's working. So what you would do is you would try to keep the same group. And I'm saying for all teams, if they were really smart about this, is that if they keep the same group of guys who will understand you, know your game plan, know your ideals, know what you're going to do next, and stick with it, you guys will do great damage in the long run. The Bandits right now have found their rhythm. And look what they've done in the past 2 years. We won back-to-back titles. Now, will they go for a three-peat? Of course they are, because that's what they're doing right now. But I'm saying maybe a 4 to 5. Who knows what the run's going to be like? But we don't know that for sure. But it's going to be a fun ride, and that's what the Bandits are doing right now with the group of guys that they have. They, like I said, like we've said before, we've got a guy here and there go, and we picked up somebody else. Thomas Whitey, really stepping in and being that transition slash defenseman that I'm actually impressed by. Never
Yeah,
thought
me too.
a former Rochester Nighthawk come to Buffalo and go, well, my game just got improved by just being on this team.
Yeah.
It's the mentality, it's the morale that the Bandits bring to each player that gets them to become better for themselves. And not only that, but once they gel into the team effort, like the team's chemistry, it grows into something bigger. Like your career just goes and it sets off like a rocket. And that's what they should do. And that's what they are doing. And for guys that come into the league and want to say, hey, I want to play for this team, I want to learn their style, and I want to become one of the best like they are at the moment. You may not be there at first, but when it comes time where the golden ticket is showing to you and saying, well, now it's your time to come to this team, nerves and the anxiety will kick in at first. But
Excitement,
if
though.
calm yourself and you stay focused, and believe me, you'll gel into this group and the team chemistry, and you will flourish into becoming a great lacrosse player. The Bandits have shown to lead the way, not only for just the team, but like you stated before, with all the coaches that are now in this league that used to play for Buffalo, has gelled in this great league that we have right now.
Yeah.
And look what has happened. I mean, Tracy Koloski now coaching.
Yep.
You got Johnny T who's coaching. You got who else did you
Kurt
say that's a
Kurt
former
Kurt
Bandit?
Malowski is the coach of the Vegas Desert Dogs.
Exactly. So there you go again. And Williams taking
Mike
over in the
McCursey.
Desert Dogs too.
Mike McCursey with
Um,
Halifax.
Unreal. What
Yep.
does that tell you guys?
A winning
We're
culture.
flourishing because what started it all? This team right here. This team.
They have been a winning
So
culture since 1992. 32
yeah,
years of, maybe outside of a couple outlier retool, rebuild years, 32-year history of winning lacrosse.
that's right. And
And
we're
the
still
number
winning, no
one
matter
thing,
what.
for
No
real. I
matter
mean,
what aspect of the game you may say. We're winning no matter what.
yeah. And the one thing that really I took into account for this game was honestly, I thought it was going to be a trap game the whole time. I said in the preview, like, I
You
wouldn't be
did say it
surprised
was a trap game.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ottawa takes this, because New York / Ottawa plays the Bandits, plays their best lacrosse. We've never blown them out before, so why would they do that in this meeting? Oh, how the tables have turned with this one, and the Bandits just go in there and beat them up by 11. This is a team that pretty much has Matt Vince's number. He holds them to under 10, and like we've really just reiterated this whole show, a complete team win, complete team ass kicking, and just this team is dangerous. This Bandits team is dangerous. Look out for them to be in the top 3 of the standings. They have another bye week coming up to prep for their home opener. They have the chance in their first 3 games to own the full-time tiebreaker over the Rochester Nighthawks.
Yep.
If they do that, talk about a hell of a start to a season. Beating them 15-7 and then beating them again at home. And then, oh yeah, you beat the team that always plays the toughest against you. You beat them by 11 freaking goals in the Ottawa Black Bears on the road. That is what I want to emphasize to everyone out there. They didn't just beat Rochester and Ottawa. They didn't, it's not like they went in there in front of Banditland and beat them. Don't get me wrong, beating them 15-7 and 18-7 in Banditland would be a movie, and I would, we'd get front row seats to that. They did this on the road, which is scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah, well, kick your seats back, put your straps on, and get ready for a wild ride, because the Bandits are going to make it exciting again, especially when we come home on the 28th facing Rochester again. You don't think Banditland's going to be sold out? 19,000 plus fans are going to be there to watch this? Oh, you damn sure better be ready to go
Oh, it'll
on
be
the
a sellout,
28th.
Tony. Banner night.
Can't wait.
Everybody's getting a banner.
Nah, I'm so excited. I'm like, I got goosebumps just even thinking about it right now.
Oh, I mean, when you see that banner go up and then you got a vulnerable team that just lost to Vancouver over the weekend in Rochester,
Yeah.
I, I, I we're gonna do the preview in about a week or so, but I smell 3-0 and I smell a tiebreaker over the Rochester Nighthawks, and I smell a 1-3 Nighthawks team after the 28th. That's what I
Yeah.
see.
I
I
can
don't
see the
think
same thing too. I completely agree with you, Trev, because that's the way I just with the how the their confidence just went from starting off strong to back to reality. We're down to back in the basement again.
I mean, I was in New York City for this game, so I couldn't watch it in real time. So I watched the replay of it on NLL Plus,
Hmm.
like the full game. I watched it in its entirety, and I'm just like, this team is a great team that has a lot to play for. They're playing like they just lost the finals. Like they're
Hmm.
playing angry for no reason. They're playing pissed off. This looks like a team. This looks like the 2023 team after they just lost to the Mammoth the year before. They are playing like, and I was saying this to myself when I was watching the game again. I was like, they are playing this game as if they lost in the finals and they want to just destroy every team that's in front of them and get their revenge going into this year.
Hmm.
What people don't know, or what people do know, is they won. They swept the finals. They swept the playoffs last year. There is nothing stopping them right now from putting their hands up and being like, okay, we had enough of this winning thing. It was a great run. Someone else could take the reins. They are showing don't F with winning. We are still going to be the best. If you want to beat us, you better start drinking something magical out of the fountain, or you better start really watching film, because if you want a chance against us, if you want a prayer against the Buffalo Bandits, you got to come in and play your very freaking best lacrosse. And maybe, just maybe, you'll make it out alive, because this team has already put Rochester, the Nighthawks, and the Black Bears in a freaking body bag. And I don't think the bye week is going to slow any momentum down, because they're going to be so supercharged, super energized, ready for banner raising night in front of 19,000 plus at the KeyBank Center. So if you think that they're just going to lay down, oh, the momentum's going to be dead from the bye week, you got another thing coming. This team looks shades of 1993. This 2025 team. So it's going to be insane. I'm fired up. Dude, I'm ready to run through a freaking wall going into the game against the 28th. That's going to be a great game in section 106. All good things right now. This looks like a polar opposite team from 2024, and it is a long season and it can change on a dime. But when you have a bye week coming up and you start off 2-0 and you're at the top of the standings, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean the way how we're playing so far, that's a statement made, and that's how you got to play every game. Is you got to play as a statement, and you don't give any opponent any opportunity to come back and try to dethrone the Buffalo Bandits, because that's right now we're at the right now we're sitting on the throne. We have the crowns on our head, we got the rings on our fingers, and every team out there is going to try to take us down. But you know what? Statement games prove to teams to say no. You are not going to take this away from us. We've earned the right to be known as champions, and we have also earned the right to be number one in the National Lacrosse League for a reason. You want to know what that word stands for? Dynasty. We're
Yep.
now in the years of our dynasty. So, which means we may see two, three more coming our way. If they keep playing like this and it's unstoppable, dude, I see good things for this team. I see we might have 10 titles in the next future. Who knows? Wouldn't that
Because
be a sight?
it would be a fantastic sight. I mean, this team is not just playing for themselves. They're playing for this fan base. They're playing for the city.
Yep.
Uh, and I mean, we know the stereotype of Buffalo. They've had some great teams historically, but they always fall short of winning that title. The Bandits have proven, hey guys, we're over here. If we get more attention, we won't have to talk about that curse anymore,
Hmm.
because we have won 6 of these things. You have to count on 2 hands the amount of titles the Bandits have won. And they're like, hey guys, we're putting on a show, a winning product every single weekend. All you have to do is tune into TSN, NLL Plus, ESPN Plus to watch a winning team. I am so sick and tired, Tony, looking at Twitter and seeing, oh, this is the cursed city. All a bunch of casual football fans, hockey fans. The Buffalo is the most cursed city ever. Look at the other team that plays at the KeyBank Center and tell me that this city is cursed, because
You
you
can't.
wouldn't know. You poor naive little soul. You wouldn't have a freaking clue what winning is. You look, I mean, sure, the National Lacrosse League doesn't have as much attention as maybe the basketball, baseball, football, hockey, but
True.
when you look at when if I just want to take you to one game and you're going to say, I take it all back. This is one of the most gruesome, brutal, hard-hitting physical sports, and you got an announcer who's pumping crowd noise in, and
Oh, he's
he's,
sweaty.
he's 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 getting the fans involved, and all credit to him. You got music playing the whole time. You got the goal horn blasting. You got 19,000 Bandit fans on their feet doing the box chants and the Dunkerly or name the insert goalie name here taunt, followed by the "You suck" chants. So to all the people out there that say, "Oh, Buffalo is a lost cause," whatever, the most cursed city, I know that you've never watched a Bandits game. I know that you're ignorant to the game of lacrosse, and you might want to take back what you say, because all it takes is one little search on Google, Buffalo Bandit highlights. You won't be disappointed, and you will not call Buffalo a cursed city anymore.
No, we're now known as one of the curse lifters, and I got a feeling that this is going to be just a run for a very good streak of nonstop happiness for the city and town, for this team. And God, I'm excited. I don't know what else to say. I'm pumped up for the home opener. I cannot wait. And we'll
And
talk
it's
more
great.
about that in our preview.
Definitely. 18-7 victory over the Ottawa Black Bears. And before we go, we have to do our player of the game. And if you are still sticking around now, you already know who my player of the game is. Mr.
You called it.
100%, Ian McKay, by far, is my player of the game up in Ottawa. By the way, first time we played a game in Ottawa since pre-Toronto Rock days. Against the last time we played up in Ottawa is when we faced against the Ottawa Rebel. I believe that was 2001 or 2002, one of those years. But yeah, I mean, first time playing there, they did not disappoint. And my player of the game is Ian McKay.
Yeah, I would have to say the same thing too. But um, give credit where credit is due. We're finally seeing the power play work, and we're starting to see the special teams really kick up. So kudos to number 95, Chase Fraser,
Yeah,
um, getting his rhythm back and scoring goals, taking chances when he has to, and having that confidence back up. And believe me when we say this, is that when he was shooting that past game against Ottawa, and the fact that he could have had 4 goals, but 2 of them were taken away, which was either player in a crease or possible whatever possession transmit. I
interference
don't
or
know
whatever it
whatever it's
was.
called, but
Yeah,
um, the fact that he could have had 4 goals that night and he would have had a total of 9, he would have been right up there with Dane with total points. Um, but again, new people, secondary scoring. Chase Fraser's starting to step up and be that guy too. That he can score his goals as much as Dane, Josh, and whoever else can. Kudos to him. So my guy Chase.
it was phenomenal. Chase Fraser, Ian McKay, Matt Vince, honorable mention as well. Dane Smith, Josh Byrne getting his first double-digit game of the year. I mean, you can name 1,000 players for player of the game, but yeah, that
Yep.
was an outstanding game. 18-7 is nothing to just say, "Oh, cool, we won." No, this is dangerous for the rest of the league. When you beat a team 18-7, that doesn't only show that, hey, A, that you won the game, but B, that you are dominating your opponent. And this is something the Bandits have been doing consistently for a long time now, as far as dominating teams and, beating up on young and up and coming teams that fans can start looking at. Because Rochester and Ottawa, you can make the argument these teams are on the up and up, and just they ran into the Bandits. That's all that happened. These guys ran into the Bandit. They had no other answer. But yeah, huge victory. Tony, any final thoughts before we shout out our sponsors here on the gigantic, ginormous bear hunt that happened in Ottawa, the 18-7 victory?
Well, right now, all I got to say is I got a nice new bear rug right by my fireplace. That's all I can say about
You
that.
and Nick
And
Weiss.
it's keeping me nice and toasty right now because that's the way we like to skin them and put them right by the fire and then
You
lay
and
on
Nick
there and be
Weiss,
like,
bro.
this is a nice victory in a nice warm climate. Yeah, the Bandits did their thing and they just whooped that bear's ass. So all I
Yeah,
can say about
you
that.
might
But
want to
other
send
than
some
that, keep playing
some
like you're
grizzly bears.
playing. Don't change nothing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So keep going, boys. You guys are doing great.
And you might want to send some grizzly bears. We already tarnished the black bears. So you might want to send the bigger brother, send the grizzly bears to the Bandits, and maybe you'll get a better fight.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah,
hopefully for the polar bears itself. I mean, it's not that cold, and right now we're getting a bunch of rain at the moment here in Buffalo. But again, The snow will come back. So if you guys want to send polar bears for all we know,
Send the Kodiak bear too. I don't
the
care.
Kodiak Bears.
Send the Kodiak. Send the Kodiak bear. But yeah, I mean,
Oh
huge
boy.
victory. Man, we got to wrap this up. So Tony, shout out our sponsors.
You got it. First and foremost, we'd like to thank Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. If you guys haven't tried it yet, mention the boys of Banditland Boulevard. Tell them that Trevor Hauer and Tony LaMonica sent you and says you guys can try the best bar food in town, but also the best beef and wick in the city. Great food, amazing service. You will not be disappointed. So guys and gals, go check it out. It is a phenomenal place to go.
Hell yes.
Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. We'd like to thank those who have been booking and planning your next vacation through Virgin Cruise Line. If you guys want to book your next trip, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let us book your next new adventure. Also, we'd like to thank for YouTube for having us on board. Hit that like and subscribe button, because now you know who the boys are the faces in Banditland Boulevard. Trevor Hauer, myself, Tony LaMonica, aka Boxhead 98TL. Also, for those who listen on every known device, known to man, phone, radio, you name it, on Spotify. Please give us that 5-star rating about all your Buffalo Bandits lacrosse needs.
Dude, that's it. Well said. 18-7 over the Ottawa Black Bears. Bear
2-0.
2-0. You got the bearskin rug. I was going to say so does Nick Weiss. By that picture that Dane Smith posted on his Instagram. That was phenomenal. Amazing work from Dane Smith there to throw that in there.
Good job, boys.
That was phenomenal. So when you dominate, you can post things like that. That's the really, really cool thing about winning. And the Bandits have a couple, especially Dane Smith. He's got a couple rings on his finger that can back that trash talk up. But hey, Tony, we got 3 words.
Yes,
3 words that we close out every single show. What might those 3 words be? No matter if we win 18-7 or lose 18-7, win all of our games, lose all of our games, we say these 3 words right here. Ready?
Yes, we do. Yep. Let's
go
Bandits. Let's go.
Our path to 3-0 starts right now. Let's go.
And for a 3-peat.
3-0 for a 3-peat. How about that?